And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
First line weather graphic here showing band of IFR with the storm out there over the Bering Sea to the Aleutians. Some more IFR up over the northern Bering Sea, Bering Strait, another area of IFR, as well as over the west central interior, and some IFR along the western Arctic coast. Marginal VFR, eastern coast, VFR for the North Slope, Brooks Range, down across just about all of the southern interior here. Still some lower conditions. Prince William Sound, Kenai Peninsula, up across the Matanuska Valley, Talkeetna Mountains to the Alaska Range. But the Copper River Basin on down along the southeast coast. Good VFR for the afternoon. Area of IFR expanding eastward with the weakening front there into the eastern Aleutians and then back to the northwest. Pribilofs becoming marginal VFR and break here behind the front, and then some more marginal VFR, mostly south of the western Aleutians. Good VFR, eastern Bering Sea, and much of the interior. Some possible IFR here over toward Eagle in that area, but the Arctic coast, North Slope looking pretty good, as well as the Brooks Range. And lingering marginal VFR here for the Kenai Peninsula, maybe into Cook Inlet in the afternoon, and IFR along the eastern North Gulf Coast there, Yakutat on down along the north coast of the Panhandle, but you can see the inside waters, at least the southern 3/4 of the inside waters, VFR. For the morning, southern Panhandle, VFR, northern 2/3 there, looking a little marginal. IFR here back into the Copper River Basin and areas up along the eastern border there. And also from the Koyukuk Valley, you've got some IFR northward across the Brooks Range to the North Slope there, and then expanding along the central and eastern Arctic coast. Western interior, good VFR, and VFR here for south central Alaska, Kodiak Island, Bristol Bay, IFR for the Alaska Peninsula, and a big area of IFR here sitting over the southern Bering Sea, trying to get down to Adak and Atka. But northern Bering Sea, St. Lawrence Island, even Nunivak Island, on up to the Seward Peninsula, pretty good VFR. For the afternoon, really nice here over the northern Bering Sea with VFR that extends into interior Alaska. Brooks Range starts to get marginal North Slope IFR. Another band of IFR here over the central Aleutians, moving into the eastern Aleutians around Nikolsky. And otherwise, southwest coast, VFR into Bristol Bay, marginal VFR up to the southern part of Kodiak Island, or most of Kodiak Island, Fogneck Island, into Cook Inlet, looking pretty good. Some IFR, a little narrow band here along the North Gulf Coast. And 4 passes, Anatuvik and Adigan, looking really good for the day on Thursday, both forecast VFR conditions. And Lake Clark and Merrill, same thing. Rainy, also VFR, windy, good VFR. A VFR day coming up for Isabel, Mentasta, and Tanita as well. Portage, though, could be a little marginal, and Chilkoot and White, occasionally marginal as well. Freezing levels, 2,000 feet, still south of Kodiak Island, and then up along the eastern North Gulf Coast, and about 4,000 to 6,000 feet across the Panhandle, 4,000 feet up into the central Aleutians. And icing here with that frontal system and storm out over the Bering Sea. We've got an area of considerable moderate rime icing moving into the eastern Aleutians and extending northwestward there into the central and northwest Bering Sea. And then also another area here covering much of the southeast coast, expanding westward into Prince William Sound. And from there, looking at the jet stream, south to north flow here, up to 125 knots coming into the eastern North Gulf Coast, cutting across eastern Copper River Basin, trough through here, and the backside of that, a weaker north-northwest flow at about 70 knots. And the main jet here, south of the Aleutians. And at 9,000 feet, 40 to 70 knot winds, strongest here down toward the Aleutians around that intense but weakening low pressure area now in the southern Bering Sea. Light under general trough low pressure here over the western interior. And then for the southeast coast, south winds, 80 knots right into the northern Panhandle. 3,000 feet, south-southeast winds at about 80 knots right off the coast of the Panhandle. Lighter as you head inland a little bit there. You got to get over toward the border and into Canada to really lose the winds there. And light over the interior areas all the way to the Arctic coast down to Kodiak Island. and then 65 to 70 knot winds here in advance of this low pressure area out over the southern Bering Sea that's going to start taking a turn back toward the south. Turbulence, moderate turbulence, Alaska Peninsula, and much of the Aleutians east of Kamchatka Island. Also for the Panhandle, those strong winds, moderate turbulence expected there as well.